the same time it announced that it was opening the order books for the long-awaited Tesla Model 3 Standard Range and unexpected Tesla Model 3 Standard Range Plus, Tesla also announced that it would be closing the majority of its Tesla stores and galleries around the world, laying off a sizable portion of its sales staff and moving the majority of its sales online instead. This was, Tesla argued, to help bring down its overheads in order to allow it to bring the Tesla Model 3 Standard Range to market at the price that it had promised, $35,000. While closing Tesla stores did make sense from a business perspective, it costs less to keep servers running 24/7 than it does to staff a store 7 days a week and then pay for all the utilities and wages and bills that come from operating a retail location. Not everyone agreed with Tesla's decision, especially since it meant Tesla customers could no longer test drive the car before committing to buying one. Sure, Tesla revised its return policy to give customers 1,000 miles and 7 days to decide if they would keep their car or not. But going that route and asking customers to put down a $2,500 deposit to order the car, go through the financing process, which of course means going through hard credit checks, sign paperwork and then wait for your car to arrive before deciding for sure if it was something you wanted, wasn't something that everyone was happy about. Nevertheless, many Tesla customers and fans did seem to support the decision, arguing that the $35,000 Model 3 Standard Range was worth the change in sales policy. Or, to put it another way, it was viewed as a necessary evil in order to get more people plugging in and off fossil fuels. Those who weren't already Tesla customers who wanted to be able to test drive a car before making a massive purchase decision that could have long-term effects on their financial records, or who just preferred dealing with a human rather than a computer, were less happy about it. Those who didn't like the idea of Tesla being online only, however, will like the news from Tesla this morning, that it's changed its mind on the whole store closure thing. Instead of closing the majority of its stores, Tesla has now said it will keep 1/2 of its current stores open, along with a small test drive fleet and a small inventory of cars to allow potential customers to test drive vehicles and to allow for the occasional walk-in, walk-out with a car sale, respectively. Despite this, however, Tesla says it still plans to have all of its ordering to remain online. In its official blog post announcing the U-turn, Tesla said, quote, "To be clear, all sales worldwide will still be done online, in that potential owners coming to stores will simply be shown how to order Tesla on their phone in a few minutes." Adding that cars will be available for test drives at stores at potential owners' requests, it's clear Tesla anticipates the majority of its sales to be carried out without a test drive. Given that 82% of Model 3 customers thus far have purchased their car without a single test drive, Tesla does seem pretty justified in that viewpoint. In enacting this U-turn 2 weeks after announced it was closing all of its stores, Tesla is certainly sending mixed messages. But it's also showing that it does listen to its fans, customers, and potential customers. And that's going to earn Tesla some significant brownie points. However, with the change in policy, it's going to have to look elsewhere to make the equivalent of the 6% or so of savings that it originally had hoped to get from closing those stores. The savings were what it was using to hit the Model 3 Standard Range price point of $35,000. While it still will get some cost savings from 10% of the stores that have already been closed, and the 20% of still existing locations that are now under review to see if they need to close, Tesla said in its blog post that it plans on increasing its vehicle prices worldwide on March 18th by around 3% on all but the entry-level Model 3 Standard Range. That model will remain available from its starting price of $35,000. So why the change in policy? I'd like to say it was all down to Tesla listening to its customers. But as the Wall Street Journal detailed recently, recent SEC filings show that Tesla has a total of $1.6 billion of, quote, non-cancelable operating lease agreements for various properties around the world, or in other words, lease agreements. This includes retail stores, galleries, and presumably service, storage, and distribution facilities. Between now and 2023, It's an estimated $1.1 billion of rent that's due to be paid by Tesla for those facilities. Cancelling would not only land Tesla in potential legal trouble, but it would also lose it a lot of money. It makes far more sense for Tesla to continue operating those locations and look for savings elsewhere. Also worth noting at this point is that the filing Tesla made with the SEC this morning, just before the opening of the markets, in which it said that it's issuing $13 million worth of Tesla shares to Central Valley Auto Transport Inc., a vehicle logistics company, in exchange for acquiring car hauling trucks and trailers. This should certainly ensure that Tesla can get cars to customers as soon as possible, but it also means that Tesla hasn't been required to spend any of its much-needed capital to get the trucks it needs. That's hardly unusual, but it's important because it makes the fact that the price rises that Tesla is planning to put into effect on March 18th could have been a whole lot worse if Tesla had paid cash rather than shares. Do you think this is the right move for Tesla? Does its constant flip-flopping concern you, or is it simply trying to keep flexible in a constantly changing marketplace? Leave your thoughts in the comments below. Well, that's it. Thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.